Join us on another adventure with Wild and Free
Interior Alaska.
Hi!
Hey.
So we just got out to our cabin on a Friday night. It's beautiful. Probably earliest we've had to get out here from work. And we had some guests out here this week. His cousin is visiting from Vermont, technically, with his girlfriend, and he is, a woodworker by trade, so he came out and helped a little bit, and that's why some things are here as we were arriving. One of the things that they did was get started on our woodshed over there, so we'll try to finish that by getting the roof on and starting to fill it up. But it'll be really nice to have a woodshed for the winter. So that's really awesome that progress is made. And then this board is added here. So we have this trim piece. So that's pretty cool. And we got started on those. So he was working on some trim while he was out here to help us out. And then inside, he did trim around our windows that we hadn't got to yet. So you got that one done, that one done. We had already done this one. Don't look too close. We had done that one. Don't look too close. But this, he even made such beautiful edges for us. It's looking really, really nice. He did the trim around everything. We gotta get a bigger board so we can finish going around the purlins, but there's trim around everywhere in here. But wait, what is this? He added, back it out a little, a railing. That was one of the things the boys had mentioned, and he threw up a really nice railing today before he left. And he did up here. Take a look in the boys' loft. So the trim looking good. So yeah, a lot in the window. A lot of progress was made on the finishing touches inside. Look at that. It's not easy with these logs that are all different. So, yeah, pretty awesome progress.
Look at it go! Oh no, it's coming!
As I mentioned when we got out here, we had my husband's cousin and his girlfriend come up from Vermont, and they are visiting Alaska for the first time. They wanted to come out here, but they wanted to help a little bit, which was super appreciative. And my father-in-law came out yesterday as well, and they put up the woodshed and got started on that minus the roof. So today we're going to use our leftover 2 panels from our roof when we decided to make our roof a little bit shorter on our cabin as we were racing against winter, and we didn't want such a big overhang in the end. We had leftover ones, so we were repurposing them into a very much needed woodshed. So we're gonna go ahead and install that today. We'll see once we get up there, have to add a few rafters in the middle so that where the seam falls of the panels, we'll have something to attach it to. So we're literally going to set our rafters wherever that happens, the extra ones that we have, and make that work somehow. Yeah, so we're going to do that today, as we're going to start with before we move on to the next task. So we'll see how this goes.
So this is the part of projects that drives me absolutely bananas. Got everything ready to go, but we can't find a matching combination of screws and bits that work. How that is possible when we've built this entire cabin and had tons of bits and tons of screws, I have no friggin' idea. But this is
Just the reality.
And the type of stuff that makes a easy project frustrating and take forever. Because we have one size Torx bit drivers, but the screws we have are the wrong size for that, or the right sizes, I have no idea. We have a Phillips driver, but we only have a handful of Phillips screws. I think we need to buy a few more boxes of screws to have out here. They come with bits, but I mean, we're easily 10-15 minutes now that we've been trying to find screws to build the rest of the roof. So that's cool.
Back in business now after we found our screws for our rafters, so we started by measuring our roof panels, and let's get started. We were left with some instructions of how long the roofing panels needed to be based on what we had left over from our cabin so that we could cut them and then overlap them and not have to buy any more. So we'll see how it works out. Using metal shears, Cameron was able to cut along the roof line that he had drew so that we could cut that piece off and use that as overlapping on the middle panel. As you can see, bugs are also terrible, so we needed a little bit of bug spray. But as he cuts that off, that little piece right there is going to be overlapped with another one, and the piece that he just cut is going to be installed, and we're going to test fit it to make sure that we did it right before we go too far. After test fitting the first panel that we cut, we realized, yep, we were right with the measurements, and we made the next line, and I cut that one. It was my turn now. After we cut that, we decided that we needed to figure out exactly where the next rafter needed to go based on where that panel was setting. So we started to measure where that roof panel lies versus where our existing rafters were to figure out if we needed to add another one. And why, of course, we do, but kind of figuring out that measurement took a little bit of work to figure out exactly where it needed to go and what tools we had to install a new one. We thought we would start by taking off the extra brackets that you see overhanging, but those were not going to come off because we didn't have the right tools to do so. So we just used new ones and started to install those. While Cameron was getting the tools to install the other brackets that we had for the rafters, I was starting to measure the rafters so that we could make the cuts on those and be ready to install it exactly where it needed to go so that the edge of the roof panel would line up with it, where the overlap was going to be on the two panels. So got that done. Is it pretty? No. Does it work? Yes. Is it all about function? Absolutely. After adding that extra rafter so that the overlap of the roof panel was going to have something to attach to, we added additional blocking. So that's what you saw us just do so that it was more sturdy, as our snowfall is quite high here, but it is also at an angle that hopefully it will slide right off the back. So we got the first one up, and then we moved on to our little overlapping pieces, and first and foremost adding blocking. So we'd kind of experiment with where it's going to lie so that we have something to attach it to, and then add supporting blocking behind it. As you can see, I'm the one on the roof doing all of the screwing. Yes, I lost several down the back there. You know, it's no job done without just losing lots of roofing screws. After the back panel was installed, we put on the front panel for those two little pieces that are overlapping, that are lying in the middle of our woodshed, and we added some extra blocking there. And finally, we can add on our last one. Yeah, we did make a slight error. We weren't sure if the measurements we were given were for lining up directly at the edge or if there was a little bit of an overhang on each side of the woodshed. So I'm going to call out our mistake. We should have had it overhang on that first one a little bit, but you know what? The wind and everything comes from the direction where the other one's overhanging. So in the end, I think it's going to work out just fine. You saw us put it together. As far as the roof goes, we ended up adding some cross supports to help withstand the snow and everything else. And then where the two in the middle meet. It's not perfect. Sure, I had a few misses on just a few roof screws, but you know, that's a woodshed in the end, and it's done. And we'll be able to fill it up soon. So that's important. Oh, and yeah, we have an overhang on one side more than the other. We weren't sure what the measurements would be because we didn't build it to know where they put it, and we wanted to be safe and we should have measured. But you know what? In the end, all of the wind pretty much usually comes from this direction that I'm at. And yeah, so it's cool. It's fine. It's for a woodshed. It's not perfect. Learn from our mistakes. At least the roof on our cabin was a little bit more well thought out and worked out better, but yeah. Give you a little look from the back. Yeah, piece those pieces together. The screws are in all sorts of different places depending on where our awkward cross boards are, but that doesn't matter. It's just a woodshed. Now that the roof is on, it's time to use those leftover boards and add side rails so that we can hold in the wood and help sturdy up the entire structure to withstand our severe winters out here. So we just added some cross boards for support, for stability, and to help so we can keep some sides on it.
We used this wooden sled to haul all our logs down here. Ham built it, my dad did, but all good things have to come to an end. We even did the last couple trips over the dirt, so the runners are pretty worn down on it. So what we're going to end up doing is cutting it in half, and this is now going to be the floor for our woodshed. So it's 16 feet long. If we measure 8 feet in and cut it, should be the middle, and then we can carry on our wayward son.
That's it. Now it's the floor. Just like that. There it is. We'll eventually put something in the front, but for now this was a good start for us to get started stacking it with wood. Next up, we're gonna add some sides.
Oh no.
The sides we're using are leftover 1x6 tongue and groove from our ceiling, and we're just equally spacing them out. We were able to cut them in half so that we could get 2 out of 1 board and add a little bit of side support to keep the wood in. We put up some sides, as you saw, to hold the wood in. There'll be some pressure probably on the sides. We'll see if the back needs anything added once we get stacking. But for now, it's pretty good. After hitting our head one too many times on that, we thought maybe we'd leave them all up to potentially hang stuff off of if needed. But it's too dangerous back there. We're gonna cut it shorter. Voila. And on to the next. Maybe. Chainsaw's tired. It cut a stump out of the ground, it appears, while we were gone. Oh, is it out of fuel? Yeah. Alright, we'll take care of that. And let the stacking begin. As you've seen in the past, doing firewood is an all-hands-on-deck family affair. After all, we all benefit from it, so we're all stacking up all of the wood that we have cut to clear the land to do our outdoor shower, to place this woodshed here, and from various piles around that didn't have any sort of permanent cover over them. We are now able to start filling up our woodshed before winter comes, and it's working out pretty well. We didn't really have any issues on the back wall, so we left it the way it was. Back to loading wood. Throwing those in that pile over there?
Yep.
Oh, you starting our bonfire?
Yep.
Nice. After a quick lunch break, we are back to filling it with wood by taking every piece that we could find around the property that we have cut up and stacking it in there. Nope, we didn't get to all of them. Still have some piles around, but we did make amazing progress and we're really happy with how it turned out. Well, for wood for the day, we're calling that good. We're gonna move on to some other projects. It's a lot of work. It's pretty warm out today. I don't know what, because our thermometer blew and broke. It wasn't moving from beyond 60, even though it wasn't 60, but now it's saying it's like 90, and I know it's supposed to be upper 80s, so I have no idea what it is, but it's warm out here. It's tiring work. Time to move on. This is good for a day of firewood.
Thanks for joining us.
Give us a like and subscribe and follow for our next adventures on Wild and Free
Interior Alaska.